slave became more powerful than the emperor who owned him. A prisoner controlled his torturer's mind. A dying man laughed at death. They all used the same ancient mental technique, and it's about to blow your mind. Right now, you're probably stressed about something. Money, relationships, your future, your past. Your mind is racing, anxiety building. But what if I told you that 2,000 years ago, humans discovered a mental framework so powerful that it literally made them immune to suffering? Not reduced suffering, immune to it. The Romans called them Stoics, and they were terrifying to their enemies, not because they were violent, but because they couldn't be controlled. You couldn't threaten a Stoic with death because they'd already accepted it. You couldn't bribe them with wealth because they didn't need it. You couldn't break them with torture because they'd separated their mind from their body. Here's the kicker. This wasn't some religious cult or mystical belief. It was pure mental engineering, a systematic rewiring of how the human brain processes reality. Let me prove it to you. Marcus Aurelius ruled the most powerful empire on earth while plague killed millions of his citizens, including his own children. His own wife was sleeping with his enemies. His best friend betrayed him. Germanic tribes were invading from every direction. Any normal person would have cracked. But Marcus did something that historians still can't fully explain. Every morning, he'd write in his journal. We still have it. It's called Meditations. But he wasn't writing motivational quotes or positive affirmations. He was doing something much darker and infinitely more powerful. He was practicing negative visualization. Every single morning, he'd imagine losing everything. His empire, gone. His family, dead. His own life, ended. He'd visualize it in vivid, brutal detail. The smell of death, the sound of his empire burning, the feeling of a blade through his chest. Why would the most powerful man on earth torture himself mentally every morning? Because once you've already lost everything in your mind, you can't be threatened in reality. The worst has already happened. In your imagination, everything else is just a softer version of what you've already survived mentally. But here's where modern science gets involved, and this is where things get really crazy. Neuroscientists studied practiced Stoics using fMRI machines. What they found shouldn't be possible. When exposed to typically stressful stimuli, threats, insults, financial loss, their amygdala, the brain's fear center, showed almost no activation. But their prefrontal cortex, the rational thinking center, lit up like a Christmas tree. They had literally rewired their brains, turned off fear, turned on pure logic. The Navy SEALs discovered this independently. They call it stress inoculation. Special forces operators visualize failing missions, getting captured, dying, over and over until their brain stops producing fear chemicals in response to danger. It's the exact same technique Marcus Aurelius used 2,000 years ago. But the Stoics took it further than just managing fear. They discovered something that modern society desperately tries to hide from you. You don't actually need anything you think you need. Seneca was one of the richest men in Rome. Once a month, he'd sleep on the floor, eat only bread and water, wear rags, not as punishment, as practice. He called it voluntary discomfort. After 3 days of living like a beggar, he'd return to his mansion and realize something that would terrify modern corporations if everyone understood it. The difference between poverty and wealth is mostly imaginary. The human body needs water, basic food, shelter from extreme weather. Everything else? Your mind convinced you it's necessary, but it's not. The advertising industry spends $600 billion a year making you forget this truth, making you believe you need their products to be happy, successful, attractive. But the Stoics had already figured out the game, and they weren't playing. This is why they were so dangerous to power structures. You can't control someone who doesn't want anything from you. But here's the part nobody talks about, the part that makes people uncomfortable. The Stoics believe that your emotions are lying to you. every single one of them. Anger, jealousy, anxiety, even love. They're all mental errors. Glitches in your operating system that cloud your judgment and make you weak. Epictetus, who started as a slave and ended up teaching emperors, put it brutally. It's not things that upset us, but our judgments about things. Read that again. Nothing that happens to you actually upsets you. Your interpretation of what happened upsets you. The event is neutral. Your mind adds the suffering. Someone insults you? That's just sound waves hitting your ear. You decided those sounds mean something negative. Your spouse leaves you. That's just a person changing physical locations. You added the story about abandonment and failure. Lost your job? That's just a change in daily routine. You created the narrative about financial ruin and social shame. This sounds like complete BS until you see it in action. Viktor Frankl survived Nazi concentration camps using pure Stoic principles. While watching his family die, while being starved and tortured, he discovered what he called the last human freedom, the ability to choose your response to any situation. The Nazis could control everything about his external world, but they couldn't control his internal reaction. He even found meaning in the suffering. Not happiness, meaning. There's a massive difference, and understanding it changes everything. Modern culture sold you the biggest lie in human history, that you should be happy all the time, that sadness is a mental illness, that anger is toxic, that fear means you're weak. So you pop pills, scroll social media, buy things you don't need, anything to avoid feeling negative emotions. The Stoics would laugh at this. They knew something we've forgotten. Suffering is data. Pain is information. Discomfort is growth. You're not supposed to avoid these feelings. You're supposed to use them. Here's the technique that will reshape your entire existence. It's called the view from above, and it's so powerful that astronauts report experiencing it naturally when they see Earth from space. Close your eyes. Now zoom out from your body. See yourself from above. Keep zooming. See your building, your city, your country, the Earth, the solar system, the galaxy. From that distance, your problems look exactly like what they are, insignificant specks in an infinite universe. Your boss yelling at you? From space, it's one tiny organism making noise at another tiny organism on a rock flying through void. Your breakup? Two specks of carbon briefly separating on a dust particle. Your debt. Numbers in a computer that will be forgotten in 100 years when everyone who knew you is dead. This isn't nihilism. It's perspective. And perspective is power. The Stoics took this even further with an exercise called memento mori. Remember you will die. Not someday, soon. Sooner than you think. The average human lives 27,375 days. You've already used thousands. How many do you have left? Nobody knows. Once you truly accept your mortality, not intellectually but deep in your bones, everything changes. That person who cut you off in traffic, you're both going to be dead soon. Why waste energy on anger? That promotion you didn't get, you'll be forgotten in 2 generations anyway. That embarrassing thing you did 5 years ago, nobody remembers, and if they do, they'll be dead soon too. But here's the twist that makes Stoicism genius instead of depressing. Once you accept that everything is temporary and meaningless on a cosmic scale, you're free to create your own meaning. Not based on what society tells you matters, but based on what you choose. The Stoics called this virtue, living according to your own principles regardless of external outcomes. Now here's the secret that will completely rewire how you experience reality. The Stoics discovered something called amor fati, love your fate, not accept it, not tolerate it, love it. Every single thing that happens to you, especially the horrible stuff, is exactly what needed to happen. This sounds like toxic positivity until you understand the logic. You can't change the past. It's done, carved in stone. So you have two options: hate reality and suffer, or love reality and thrive. There's no third option where the past changes. But loving your fate doesn't mean being passive. This is where 99% of people get Stoicism wrong. The Stoics had a concept called the discipline of action. You act with full intensity toward your goals, but with zero attachment to outcomes. You try to win while being completely okay with losing. You fight for success while embracing failure. You do everything in your power, then happily accept whatever happens. This sounds impossible until you see what it creates. When you're not attached to outcomes, you take bigger risks. When you're not afraid of failure, you move faster. When you don't need to win, you play better. Athletes call it the zone, that state where you're performing perfectly because you're not thinking about performing. The Stoics lived in the zone permanently. But here's the most controversial part, the part that makes people angry because it threatens everything they've built their identity on. The Stoics believe that all external goods, money, fame, health, even family, are preferred indifference. Nice to have, but not necessary for a good life. You can be equally fulfilled dying alone and broke as you can being rich and loved. Your brain is screaming, "That's insane," right now. That's your programming talking. Society needs you to believe that external things matter, or the whole system collapses. If everyone realized they don't need a bigger house, a better car, more followers, the economy would implode. The Stoics knew this. They participated in society. Many were wealthy and powerful, but they held it all loosely, ready to lose everything without losing themselves. Here's the ultimate test. The Stoics called it premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. Spend 10 minutes imagining losing everything you value. Your money, gone. Your health, destroyed. Your loved ones, dead. Your reputation, ruined. Feel it. Don't just think it. Feel the loss, the pain, the emptiness. Now realize you just survived it. In your mind, you just experienced total loss, and you're still here, still conscious, still capable of choosing your next thought. That's your unbreakable core, the part that can't be destroyed no matter what happens. This is why Stockdale survived 7 years of torture, why Marcus Aurelius ruled during chaos without breaking, why Epictetus found freedom in slavery. They'd already lost everything in their minds repeatedly. Reality could only offer them lighter versions of what they'd already endured. But here's the final piece that transforms everything. The Stoics believed in something called sympathia, universal connection. Everything in the universe is connected. What happens to you happens for the whole. Your suffering serves a purpose in the larger system, even if you can't see it. This isn't mystical, it's physics. Every atom in your body was forged in dying stars. You're literally made of universe. When you die, those atoms will become something else. Soil, plants, other humans. You're not separate from existence. You're a temporary pattern in it. Understanding this dissolves the illusion of separation between you and everything else. Your problems aren't your problems. They're the universe's problems expressing through you. Your victories aren't your victories. They're existence celebrating itself. The Stoics didn't just discover philosophy. They discovered the source code of human psychology. Master these principles, and suffering becomes impossible. Not because life gets easier, but because you become unbreakable. The question isn't whether Stoicism works. The question is, are you brave enough to try it?